Hi there, I'm Anita Makeover, and I'm Safonda Sailors, and I want to welcome you to Drag
Sound
Bible.
Productions, take 2.
Hi there, I'm Anita Makeover. Today on Drag Bible Study, we're going to talk about the separation of church and state. Does anyone know who the first person was who said there should be a separation between church and state? Schoolhouse Rock? Not quite. If I remember my secular history correctly, wouldn't it be Thomas Jefferson? Jefferson may have articulated it best, but he was not the first. Henry VIII? The head of the Anglican Church? Well, he did separate the Catholic Church from the English state. Well, he only did it so he could annul his marriage to Catherine and Mary Anne Boleyn. Kind of ironic that Elizabeth wouldn't let Margaret marry that nice Peter Townsend, owing to his messy divorce and all. Keep going. Martin Luther? He started the Protestant Reformation, in part because the Catholic Church wasn't uptight enough for him. We burned heretics and excommunicated Galileo. What more could they ask for? Well, I can see we're getting nowhere with the Socratic method. The answer is Jesus was the first person to call for the separation of church and state. Jesus? I hope you're planning on going to confession later after telling a whopper like that. Sister, I am 100% serious, and I am telling the truth. Let me guess. You thought one of the rules of the debate was that no one would fact-check you. It's all right here. In Matthew chapter 22, verses 15 through 22, the Pharisees had, speaking of tiresome old queens, shh, but you do have a point. The Pharisees wanted to trip Jesus up and get him to say that secular government and religion were in conflict with each other. So the Pharisees asked Jesus, is it lawful to pay tribute to Caesar? Yes, because the Pharisees thought that Jesus would say that God outranked Caesar, and that would give them tremendous power in secular government. The Pharisees wanted Rome to be a Christian nation? That was the basic idea, although everyone was still Jewish at that point. So Jesus was like, show me the money? Quite literally. And they did. It is always about the money, isn't it? So he asked them, whose image and superscription are on the penny? Why, Caesar's, of course. And so he said, quite famously I might add, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things which are God's. So what did the Pharisees do then? Oh, they basically shut up and laughed. But what does this have to do with the separation of church and state? The Pharisees were asking what they hoped was a trick question. They wanted Jesus to say that paying tribute to Caesar was dishonoring God somehow. Or that paying taxes is bad? Well, that's a 20th century interpretation. Joe Biden says, paying taxes is patriotic. Tax go Brandon! Jesus explained that religion was one thing, and secular government was another. And is that why churches don't pay any taxes? Sort of. U.S. tax law allows for a variety of nonprofit organizations, including churches, to be tax exempt. But in order to be tax exempt, one must limit one's participation in government. Just like Jesus said. But what about people like Paula White or Franklin Graham? That's the eye of a whole nother needle. U.S. tax law allows nonprofits to advocate for issues, but not on behalf of candidates or political parties. What's the difference? Well, an issue might be feeding the poor or protecting the environment. But when we get people like Pastor Greg Locke who get out there telling people, if you vote Democrat, I don't even want you around this church. You can get out, you demon. Well, they're kind of pushing the line. We should take away their tax-exempt status. That is a popular idea, but actually I think it's a really bad one. Why is that? Because we have lots of money. We won't just get a seat at the table. We can buy the whole thing. Oh. So we just have to let them get away with it? Quite the contrary. There could be some pretty serious financial penalties, both for the organization and the individuals who make it up. So we grab them by the wallet? Exactly. But how does this help us with separation of church and state? Removing a nonprofit status means that it will be taxed, and that donors can no longer make tax-deductible contributions. However, it also frees those organizations to enter politics and come in with all the money that they have. And what about fining them? Fining organizations that violate the law reinforces the separation of church and state in multiple ways. First, it directly punishes nonprofits for inappropriate interference in election campaigns. Second, such fines serve as a deterrent to other organizations that might think they too can illegally participate in partisan politics. Finally, if the organization is especially egregious, the entire organization can be dissolved completely. Logic is truly the tool of the devil. And of the IRS. Yes! So remember, if you want a church to stay out of secular politics, the greatest tool you have for keeping them in their lane is their nonprofit status. Don't take it away. Use it to fine them for violations until they stop breaking the law.